Hi everyone. So it's a real pleasure to be here today, and today we'll talk a bit more about gaming, talk about blockchain, and it's a great pleasure to welcome Diego, Dmitry, and Kieren today on our conference, and we'll talk about blockchain for gaming. We will evaluate the impact in the creators economy, and let's set the stage. I'm Vitalii. I am part of EPAM. EPAM is a platform production company, and I lead our gaming division and work on a scale of around 500 million players and supported one of the largest AAA studios and titles. Over the next course of 45 minutes, our panelists will share their insights and experiences and shedding the lights about the impact of blockchain and shaping the future of gaming and the opportunities it presents for creators. Through the discussion, we hope to gain a little bit deeper understanding of how blockchain can empower creators and revolutionize the gaming industry. Lovely. It's a great pleasure to see you guys. We connect today all over the world. I'm connected today from North Carolina. Diego, you connect from Texas. Dmitry from Turkey. And Kieren, you also connect from Europe part. So let's set the stage. Diego, would you mind to make a quick introduction of yourself?
Yeah, I'll keep it quick because obviously we want to get to the discussion. I'm one of the co-founders of Moonray. We are a melee multiplayer game, so essentially PvP, strong esports focus. Not a first-person shooter, it's melee. If you know games like For Honor, Naraka Blade Point, that's the kind of game we're building. We'll have the open alpha later this year. I mean, obviously it's a Web3 game, so there's NFTs, there's going to be a token, tokenomics, all of that sort of worked in as a way to enhance the gameplay.
Yeah, that's really great. Dmitry?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Dmitry, CEO and co-founder of Free2Play, and what we are building is Web3 infrastructure for Web2 studios, gaming studios. What we do is the API for games built on Unreal Engine or Unity, which provides, it's a transactional API. So imagine a player, an end user, can purchase some in-game asset like a character or a weapon in form of NFT inside the game with his credit card. And all this done automatically with our system. So instant wallets, like payments, like everything. Very smooth and easy for end user. That's what we do.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Dmitry. And Kieren?
Hi guys, pleasure to be here. So my name is Kieren. I'm the gaming director at Formula E. I was previously co-founder and CEO at Excel Esports, which is the UK's leading gaming and esports entertainment brand. And then I thought I'd go get a proper job for a bit. And now I'm essentially an in-house gaming consultant for Formula E, which is the world's leading electric motorsport. I have been across that journey, exposed to obviously the Web3 world and everything that's developing here. I'd say I'm learning as I go along, but I'm supposed to be the in-house expert here. So hopefully I've got some good information I can share.
That's really great and lovely, great. So maybe let's start with a couple of questions that we have, and let's start, Diego, with you. So, Diego, how do you see the creators economy evolving with integration of blockchain technology? And what is the role of decentralization in empowering creators and enabling new revenue streams for them?
Yeah. So I think certainly blockchain can facilitate creator economies, right? To be clear, the Web2 world already has creator economies that are working, that are functional. I think blockchain makes all of those transactions easier, makes the question of ownership, of getting future revenue streams off the content you create much easier. It's, to my opinion, and I'm biased because we're building, we're a GameFi project, but I think it's one of the best use cases for blockchain because you've got that question of ownership sorted out. The transactions become much easier. So you're able to reward players and not just creators, which is, I think, the way people always think about value creation is I made an NFT, I made a level. but also just participants. Like there's value in having the people just play the game, take part in the missions, things like that, and you're able to reward them as well with a tangible reward, which you can't do in Web3. I think that, or in Web2, excuse me. I think that's one of the big things that blockchain lets you do. Decentralization component is interesting. I do think it helps. It fosters a sense of community. Obviously, it's not necessary, right? Some of the largest content creation platforms today, in fact, all of the largest, they're centralized, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, whatever it is. So we know that we can get content creators to take part in a centralized system. I do think decentralization, when the community owns the project, is going to foster more people to come in. I think my advice for anyone who's having a hard time with that decentralization part, just figure out you got to be centralized. You're building a game, you're building a DeFi protocol, whatever it is. That's a centralized job. Get the project running, get people started, and then worry about decentralization on the back end. It'll help with the community, but don't trip yourself up over it.
Yeah, if I could just jump in there as well, I think the Web3 world has still got some way to go to convince the traditional AAA publishers of the value that the tech is going to add to the gaming experience. I think if you look at World of Warcraft, which is a game I've played since 2007, they've found a way through Web2 to create a kind of fully circular economy through Web2, right, with the use of WoW tokens, etc. So I think that the industry has still got a bit of a way to go to convince publishers, etc., where the value add is, right? Like how are we ultimately making the experience better for the community and the players? And I think there are some use cases. I don't know if everyone's doing a good enough job at the moment of explaining those. But yeah, it's just thought I'd chip in with my 2 pence there.
Great. And Dmitry, what do you think?
I agree with you guys, and I think that in future, and this process has already started, AAA titles and Web2 gaming studios will integrate some parts of Web3 and decentralization, like providing real ownership of in-game assets to their players. And also, I think that that topic, like digital identity, which will provide anyone to use his MetaMask or crypto wallet with some NFT as your avatar, like 3D avatar and 3D image, which you can use inside not just games, but different metaverses and different websites, from paying taxes to purchasing some foods with delivery and to your lovely games like World of Warcraft, etc. And all this can really happen based on blockchain infrastructure. And even now, I see some parts of this happening inside of different games or platforms simultaneously, but in different parts of the world, and like games and metaverses. But sometimes I believe the big players will take it all on all together and make it all happen. And I love the ideology that maybe the XLA company, it's the daughter of quite big company Xola. They're building something like metaverse, and they believe in revenue share economy based on NFT decentralized ownership, which will provide any creator with the ability to make revenue from all that he has done for the game, wherever he was, like always, with warranty based on the blockchain. So no one can just steal it and do something with their things. And that's great, I think.
Great, Dmitry. I think so. It's a really good point. So I think next stuff is everyone is talking about it right now. It's all about Gen AI, and it's happened. It's gained a lot of attention over the last literally a couple of months. People talk about it for years, and Gen AI has gained attention as a tool for content creation in gaming. And how can Gen AI be integrated into blockchain games, and what advantages does it bring to both developers and players? Kieren, maybe let's start with you. What do you think about that, and what's your opinion?
Yeah, so I was speaking to about this to someone the other day, and the question I was asked was, do you think that games will be released in the future, which will be pretty sort of blank and white paper, and then Gen AI will look into this person and create a game that is perfect for them specifically. Now, super interesting question, kind of blew me away. I didn't really know how to answer it, but I think, you know, the point here is Gen AI can create some real personalization of experiences, right? So I think whilst I don't think necessarily his question is it will happen, I think because what that misses is if you're all kind of playing your own games, it misses that community element, which is what a lot of us play, you know, games for, you know, that kind of social side of it. But I do think we'll start to see games that incorporate it to create levels of personalization for players, which, you know, could be down to just cosmetics, but I think realistically it will probably go more deeper than that into sort of storylines and experiences. I mean, think about like doing a Dungeons and Dragons campaign where it's actually Gen AI, you know, creating the storyline, and that's got way more information about you as a person, you as a character, could make it way more interesting for you. That could be cool. So that's sort of where I see it going.
I'll jump in quickly just on the developer side, since we're game developers. I think it really, the potential for AI in game development is tremendous. Right now, there's a concept of a AAA studio, big budget, you know, thousands of people on staff, and that's what you need to achieve high quality. Already with tools like Unreal Engine, Unity, you're seeing that change a little bit, where small indie studios can actually develop incredible content, you know, to compete with the big studios. I think AI is going to enhance that even further. We're already using Midjourney to come up with concept art. The problem is then you still got to rig it. There's a whole process from the concept art to getting it in the game that is still, you know, manual, let's call it. I think AI is going to streamline that and, you know, create the concept art, skin it, rig it, put it in the game all automatically or much more automated. And again, it just means that a smaller team can build a better game. And I think, I mean, we watched GDC, you know, a month ago, whenever it was in San Francisco, the number of good games. I'm not going to say tremendous, blow your socks off games. You know, there's still something about storytelling and things that, you know, make a game really, really good. But just a solid game. Everyone's creating them, right? It's a very competitive space, and tools like AI are going to mean that even more people are able to jump in and create good content that people are going to be willing to play. So I think it does revolutionize things a bit on the game developer side. We haven't seen the full potential yet. You know, obviously we're still on that path, but you know, it's getting competitive and it's getting crowded in terms of the ability to create content.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I've seen with my own eyes several products which I believe using Midjourney maybe too. And they generate some characters and not plain characters very fast and with very good quality, even now. So this might cut the costs of gaming studios like tenfold. And it's just great. It's unbelievable result. So maybe we will see even more games coming up each year. Maybe we will see more quality games coming up from smaller studios into AAA. So this will go through all the market and make it easier to build more quality, more interesting, more engaging gaming experience for the players.
Well, I'm just well, in this call, I was talking to one of the founder of a mid-sized studio, and he's sending me a code snippet and created by AI. I said, hey, I created the game like literally in 10 minutes. For this, I have to do like mid-developer that can work on it for last like months and a half. I'm like, okay, I got it. So what are we going to do next? I mean, we don't know. But the whole point that the content creation and the game creation will way faster. Is it better for players? Probably yes. Is it cheaper? Probably yes. Will it create a better games? Likely yes too. So we'll see how it will impact, but that's some of the things that all of us needs to keep an eye on. Great.
I would say just to add to that. Sorry, I would say I'm less fussed about the cost cutting just because I don't work developer side, and I'm more about sort of the community and the forward facing piece. But what it will do is, when you used to play Gears of War and you had a choice of going left or right, like you might have a choice to do a lot more things and the game will kind of adapt to what you do, right? Like that's that, and that makes the experience so much better for players. So yeah.
If everyone saw NVIDIA, the CEO of NVIDIA, he did a talk recently, and it was NPC character, but the conversation was AI generated. So it wasn't just the script, and every time you meet the character, they say the same thing. It was adapted. Hey, how was your last mission? How was, and it just, little things like that are going to be so much more interesting. Every time you meet an NPC, he knows what you did previously, and he's sending you on your way again with, with new things, instead of you touch the same guy and it's the same little bubble with the same words, and you're like, okay. So things like that are going to enhance gameplay tremendously.
Looks like you can play for some hours just with this single NPC, and it's very interesting and exciting.
Yeah, open worlds. So that's fun things. Cool. I think some of the things we also wanted to talk. It's also some of the things about the also the monetization, if it's possible, and what can be applied to the decentralized finance and the gaming. So, like a couple of years ago, GameFi emerged, and as a fusion for gaming and decentralized finance. So how does GameFi impact the creators' economy, and what opportunities does it provide to creators to monetize their work? Now we see millions of people are trying to create content. They use, right now they use UEFN for Fortnite, or they can use Roblox tools or Minecraft. More and more games will have an open creator economy. So let's talk about this. Maybe Dmitry, let's start with you. So what's your opinion about that, and how it will evolve over the next couple of years?
First of all, I think blockchain is a good database for any transactions. As we know, blockchain is used even for somewhat exchange transactions, when you have a lot of per second transactions written on the blockchain, and all they can be transparent. You can find any information you want, and I think it's good for gaming. First of all, let's imagine a AAA game with millions of players, and they have a lot of transactions and a lot of in-game assets, and there is a lot of black markets, dark markets of these in-game assets, and gaming studios lose a lot of money on these dark marketplaces. But when you have the blockchain and everything is transparent, and you have the only one smart contract which provides all these abilities to buy, sell, rent, or just send it to your friend and get it back, then a game developer can control all the markets. And I think it's good, because there will be less fraud, or maybe zero fraud for the players. There will be better retention of the players, more likes from the end users of this game. So I see a lot of potential in the blockchain, in its structure, in its transparency, in its absolutely warranty of ownership of the asset that you have purchased or earned inside the game itself. That's where the future for games, and I think all we, from players to the gaming studios, just need to be more brave and try, experiment, and do it. That's all.
That's cool. Diego?
I also think, so content creation, obviously, I think that's a very good use case for blockchain. We also see it, we call it value creation in general. So you're not creating assets, but you do create value. Think of an esports player. He's playing whatever it is that, Web3 game, wins a big tournament. He can sell those assets. He can sell the avatar he used. He can sell the weapons he used. It's almost like sports memorabilia, except that market has 80% fraud. And in our market, we'll know that that's the asset that he used. So it opens up a whole new revenue stream for a lot of esports guys. Streamers, same thing. You stream a game, and then you can sell the assets that you used during the stream. Millions of people watched. Things like that. I think the ability to capture value in new ways. I think people haven't really thought it through yet, but you're going to see people, entrepreneurs kind of going out there and trying these new revenue streams. So I think that's a very interesting thing to keep an eye on.
Yeah, just to build on what Diego was saying there, completely agree. And we're going to use the word value a lot here. But when we're talking about adding value to the player base, one of the biggest bits of value that this is adding is actually the attribution of value of their items, right? So the digital items that they're, for instance, going back to World of Warcraft, some of the most rare items in the game, the legendary items, you can't trade with anyone, and therefore you can't really put a value on them. If every item is tradable and you can put a value on it, but also, and I think this is the really important bit, you can see the history of where that item has been. That creates so much more value for the player, because if Asmongold is selling, an item, like everyone's going to want that item. If you can see, it was owned by him at one point, right? And so that just creates a cool, memorabilia piece through gaming. Obviously esports as well, but just more broadly, just gaming. I think it creates a really cool kind of memorabilia chain that we haven't been able to have in the past.
Yeah, and just tracking, like one of the things we want to do is we're going to track kills. So, you can buy a sword that has 1,000 kills, buy an avatar that, its record is 500-0, right? Undefeated avatar, just things like that. People will go for it and be interested in it. And I think that, good players, you don't just have to enter some big tournament to win prize money. Esports guys on the side can do these things and have another revenue stream. So.
Yeah, and can I add just a few words here? I think that infrastructure is evolving very fast too. Like an example, the Immutable X blockchain providing zero gas fees for transactions, and especially for games, it's just great. And I believe that there will be more and more crypto wallets made especially for players, for in-game assets, NFTs, avatars, and something like that. And that's perfect. This basement will help a lot of gaming studios to build on it very good products.
That's really good. I think moving slowly to another part of our discussion, it's about the assets. So actually, with the rise of creator economies, how can blockchain and technology enhance the ownership and control that creators have over their digital assets? And what impact does this have on their ability to monetize and collaborate further on? Maybe Diego, maybe let's start with you and then slowly switch to Kieren.
I mean, I think we've talked about it, right? It's the two types of value creation. Let's say, the people who actually create an NFT that can be used in game, or create a level, or however the game is structured, that the creators can participate. And then it's just value from participation, playing the levels, using, leveling up an avatar and then being able to sell it. That kind of ownership that you can then go out to some marketplace and trade it, and it's clean, and it's not, like we said, it's not the dark web where it's not just the studios that lose money. A lot of players get ripped off in those as well, right? Having that certainty that what I'm buying is what I think I'm getting, and the transaction, will go through. I think that just gives, it helps the community, because everything's above board. Nothing's, no one's sneaking around. Everyone knows what's going on. I think it just in general helps the entire ecosystem of that game. So it really, and it facilitates transactions as well, I think, is, credit cards, things like that. If you got a wallet and you're sending things to a wallet and it's on the blockchain, you can see the transaction. Again, all those little things help create confidence that everything that's going on is legitimate.
I just got sent a live chat comment by Dominic that says Leroy Jenkins boots used during the infamous dungeon run, which, yes, those infamous boots that have trod on a lot of whelps would be worth probably quite a bit of money in today's market, I would imagine. Great example.
And Dmitry, what do you think?
And just I thought about the heritage and inheritance of different assets which you earned inside games. When you keep them on the blockchain, even if the game itself cease to exist, you will keep them all. And I believe that in the future, we can use that same avatar or same in-game assets on different platforms and different games. And that's interesting because you can use, you can see your crypto wallet with different in-game assets as your own treasury, as your own saving account. But your assets now are not just stocks and bonds, but some assets that you earned inside your lovely games. And from time to time, year by year, the asset value will grow up. And that means that maybe in 10 or 20 years, even if you're a mature player, a mature gamer, not a pro player, you will have some capital and you can sell it and maybe even buy a house for this long-term period. Yeah, maybe it sounds futuristic now, but who knows? So the blockchain is great. Maybe even cyberpunk style blackout can make it not happen. But until the transaction was written on the blockchain, it will exist forever, and that's great.
Okay, cool. So I think some of the other part that we talk about it in a bit about the personalized experiences for players by using Gen AI. So maybe let's deep dive with this question. How can this Gen AI technology utilize for enhancing gameplay and create unique in-game content tailored to individual preferences? Kieren, what do you think? What's your opinion about that?
Yeah, I think we touched upon it earlier with the idea that you could spend hours with one NPC, because you could take that NPC on your own journey, and that NPC learns more about you, and the gameplay just becomes way more like intuitive and interesting for you because it feels really relevant, as opposed to walking up to an NPC and you're not supposed to be quite at that point in the storyline yet, and they're saying stuff that you have no idea what they're talking about, right? So whereas in this case, you might come to NPC and they say, hey, you haven't done all this stuff, like what are you playing at, like you don't talk to me, you need to talk to this guy or whatever, right? So there's just like stuff like that which will make games so much more intuitive to play. And I think one of the most frustrating things for any gamer, especially in like a storyline based game, is when they lose where they're at in the storyline, or like they don't feel like the storyline flows necessarily correctly. And yeah, if the game has a flowing storyline, then there's no right way to play it. You kind of play it how you play it, which I think it would be awesome for those sorts of games. I don't know, from like a multiplayer perspective, maybe it's more cosmetic at that point. I don't know, but yeah, maybe some other people have got better ideas than me.
Yeah, I think from a multiplayer perspective, so right now you can procedurally generate levels, but the quality isn't really all that great. I think it falls short of AAA quality. We actually started looking at that, and then our art director was like, no, I'm not putting this out there. It's not good enough, right? So like, okay, we're not going to do that. But the idea, like right now, PUBG, any of those multiplayer games, Battle Royale or arena type games, you're launching into the same level every time, right? And maybe there's a patch, an update, and they have a new level that comes out, but then you're playing that same level over and over, and managing parachuting into a new level every time, because you're generating something with AI that's new and unique every single time. You'll have the ability to do that and to have the quality, that AAA quality that I think is missing right now. So I think, again, you get a unique experience every time, and I think that'll be interesting to players. Maybe on a certain theme, this is sort of a desert level, okay, fine, but you change where the valleys and the rivers and the dunes are, and then you have to kind of learn it every time as you go.
I think that in the future, a lot will go around of personification and personal experience. And I think the easiest method to make it happen with generative AI is just to parse the players' social webs like Facebook or Instagram or maybe some messengers, and find your lovely soundtracks from there and put it in your game on some, I don't know, exciting levels, or come into a boss or something else. Parse photos with your friends, and maybe making some NPC characters looking much like the people you really love or just know inside your real life. And it may dramatically change the user experience on that level. And with the technologies we possess now, it looks like very close to happen, to come to reality. And it might be scary a little bit. A lot of questions with personal data rights and something like that. But again, some brave entrepreneurs will try to do it. I believe it, and we will see something like that come to real life soon.
That's cool. And also we're switching between every time between creator economy and also blockchain and also the gamification. So and GameFi. So we start touching a bit about GameFi, and it also incorporates as a play to earn models. And how does this shift the dynamics of the creator economy, and what challenges and opportunities does it present for both creators and players. So, Dmitry, you finished the previous question. Maybe let's start with you in this case. So, what's your opinion about that? And how is it a shift in creator economies and play-to-earn models? How it will evolve over time?
I think maybe we have already touched this question and talked about it. So the blockchain itself is a big database, as I see it. It's a good infrastructure for making transactions and keeping all that data forever and make it transparent and providing ownership rights to everyone. So that's maybe the basics which we all should know and keep in mind when building something on the blockchain. For me, like personally, I don't really believe too much in Web3 games like play-to-earn mechanics, because the economy model is very questionable. But when a game like classical Web2 game will interact and integrate some solutions from Web3 space, keeping in mind that basic components of true ownership, of transparency, of keeping the data and keeping it fully transparent for all, you can use it for good. Like I have already mentioned that you can just stop the black marketplaces of in-game assets taking your revenue from you just at once, making a smart contract, letting your players trade on this smart contract, just using some blockchain layer with zero gas price, and everyone will be happy. So it's like giant paradigm shift for gaming world, I think.
I like what Dmitry said there. I'm just going to build upon that, because I don't like the play to earn piece at all personally. Like for me, it completely takes away from the whole purpose of creating a video game, right? It's play to have fun. It's play to come back and enjoy it and enjoy the experience. Now, if whilst you do that, you can earn digital items that you know have a value and you understand how much they are valued at, that's fine. That's great. That's just more information for the players. That's value add. That makes sense. But any game that describes itself as a play to earn game is probably a rubbish game, like in my opinion. So yeah, I don't like it.
We saw this, the first wave of GameFi was really a lot of DeFi protocols with a game bolted on top. And instead of staking the token, your avatar went to do whatever little thing, and then you got a yield on the token. But it really was just a DeFi protocol. The games themselves, if you weren't getting paid to play them, you wouldn't play them. I think the new wave of games, it's much more gameplay first. We're seeing Web2 studios, not in the US, where it's still sort of blockchain has kept the norms like the way, but in Asia, there's a lot of Web2 studios that are starting to incorporate Web3 into their Web2 games. It's a game that people want to play, and it's like, okay, how can we make the blockchain enhance the gameplay? And I think that's where, you know, the industry's moving. And if people keep that in mind, gameplay first, the blockchain enhances that. It provides an ownership model, maybe, you know, some interesting missions, and the blockchain can be a part of it. Keep that in mind. I think we're going to have better games. But yeah, 18 months ago, you looked at the game and that we're in the market, and it was like, oh man, how will anyone ever play these things? And a lot of people didn't. And I think that's the reality.
Yeah, that's I can agree more about that. So we play video games just because we like to have fun. And we would like to make another $10 or $20 or $50 by playing that. So that's nothing else to say. Cool. Another part is about the creator economy. So creator economy really relies on community engagement and collaboration. So how does blockchain tech foster a sense of community ownership and encourage collaboration between creators and players within the ecosystem? Diego, maybe let's start with you. So what's your opinion about that? I think we're switching between questions. We talk about the same every time, but trying to go deeper and deeper.
Yeah, no, that's interesting, looking at the community, and we did touch on it a little bit, but you know, we'll focus on it. You have that decentralized model. It doesn't have to be fully decentralized. Obviously, we're developing the game. That's a centralized function, right? We have game devs where they're all working. It's not like the community just gets to say, hey, code it this way, right? You're never going to build a game that way. But having that blockchain component, having the decentralization, giving the community a bigger sense of ownership in the game. They have assets that, you know, will be worth something maybe if the game succeeds, will be worth less if the game fails. You know, I think it's, you know, we succeed or fail together. Having a community that has that sense is immensely helpful for games, and you get that with blockchain. It used to be WAGME, but I think with the crypto winter, we realized that no, we're not all going to make it, unfortunately. But you can still have that sense that, hey guys, you know, you get a little slice of ownership of this game. We can give you that through the blockchain. You can sell it someday if you decide you want to move on. That's fine. But while you own it and you participate, you can help the entire ecosystem grow and get something out of it. I think that's a very strong incentive for community participation that isn't there in Web2 games right now.
Cool. Kieren, Dmitry, any comments from your side? We have a couple of questions from the audience too.
Just that I've seen some games trying to create like where, you know, land masses or buildings are like part owned by different people in the community. And I suppose that's a way where you can bring different players together to sort of work on a project together because they own different parts of the same project. That's kind of cool. I think I can see some cool stuff coming out of that. You know, I work in Formula E. We're talking about like having tracks where different parts of the track are owned by different people, and, you know, they've got to keep, you know, the upkeep of the track, for instance. And yeah, I think there's some cool stuff that potentially can come out of that, but not too much more to add.
I like how fast sometimes communities come around some interesting gaming project. I think it's like a very good speed, and also I'm keen of NFT utilities and these like things linked to marketing campaigns. When you have a community and you issue some NFTs and you provide the real utility, like getting a discount in your Nike shop or some entrance to VIP level of the game and so on. And that things that are going all together with community which provide support to such like marketing campaigns and sharing word to each other about different things, interesting things and interesting opportunities inside the games. Not sometimes, not always economic opportunities, but just interesting. As Diego said, we all keep playing games because we love them. We don't want to earn some money inside gameplay. That's what I like about the communities. The spread word is really fast. The speed is very fast, and thanks to blockchain, I think it happened because the blockchain projects gathering a lot of interest from the first players, first communities, and then it just go next.
That's cool. We have a couple of questions from the audience and only 5 minutes left, but let's try to cover them at least partially. And feel free, guys, to pick up any questions you want. So one of the question is, Alexander asks, how does blockchain games ensure that game developers cannot manipulate gameplay or give unfair advantages to certain players or developers? I think, Diego, you're the one who started.
There's an easy answer to that.
What do you think?
Yeah, it doesn't. Realistically, it doesn't. You know, there's nothing to stop, you know, our lead dev from giving himself God mode, going into the game and just whooping everyone. You got to remember, people talk about, oh, what chain is your game on? No good game, no true game is on a blockchain. You have the game code, it's built on Unity, Unreal Engine, whatever it is. And then you've got the blockchain that helps the economy, you know, helps payments, whatever it is, fosters creation. But the blockchain itself can't stop shenanigans on this side of the development world. So unfortunately, that's one thing that I don't think blockchain can do.
Yeah, and you know, because you're adding value to all these items, you are going to have people, you know, rich people that are going to buy all the best items, or at least the, you know, maybe it's not the best items, maybe it's just the best looking items, right? And it's just cosmetic, but that would be ideal. But certainly they're going to buy the, you know, the best items. And Hey, that's capitalism. So that's where we are.
Yeah. You're on mute.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, even if we're talking about a clear Web3 game like Play to Earn title, which was built on a smart contract for 100%, then okay, you need to be a developer a little bit just to read the smart contract and understand that game is not tricking you. Maybe this way will help, but it looks like futuristic for a lot of the players which are not possess such skills. So, but usually, yeah, I agree with Diego that the best games are built on Unreal Engine and Unity, and they don't have too much touch with smart contracts on the gameplay side.
Right.
Some economy and transactional side, yeah, of course. If they have pre mechanics, yeah.
It's cool. So one of the last questions. So and it's community question. So what are the most interesting blockchain projects to join as a developer right now? So that's probably there are hundreds of them or dozens of them, but in your guys' opinion, what may be something that maybe top 3 at least? So
is this where everyone just plugs
say...
their own projects? Is that what
yeah, obviously ours, and then
sure. And then to next, I mentioned already, I think that Immutable X is a good protocol layer 2 of Ethereum for gaming. I think it's the future of games, at least who wants to have touch with blockchain and Web3. And maybe some crypto wallets for the players is also an interesting niche now in the blockchain and in gaming, when the player can keep all the avatars and in-game assets and easily trade it with their friends. That's my personal opinion. I would love to build some of the products. If someone will ask me, where would you go to do? What will your next project?
That's really great. We have 2 minutes left, and so maybe on the closing notes, looking ahead for how do we see the envisioning of creator economy, generative AI, any potential gamification or GameFi that can evolve in the future. So what kind of opportunities and innovations do you guys foresee in these areas? So what can be the next big thing in blockchain and gaming right now?
I think that's an interesting question. I mean, I'll take 2 examples. You know, you've got games like Illuvium, which have a very sort of, let's call it, robust tokenomics model. You can stake, they've got land, it's 3 games in one, that component's very big. Then you've got games like BR1, which I love the simplicity. You pay 1 soul to join, you get paid for everyone you kill, and that's it. Like the tokenomic model is about as simple as it can be, right? So you got those 2 bookends. Everybody else is going to fall somewhere in the middle. I don't know what's going to succeed with players. Probably there's multiple versions, you know, multiple models that can work. I think it remains to be seen. I do just caution people, don't let the blockchain take over the game, right? We saw what that looks like. It's not great. Build a good game first. The blockchain supports that in whatever way, you know, you have that you want to do your tokenomics, and then you got to test it in the market. I think AI, all those tools, they're great. They'll help you develop, but again, it's not going to build the game for you. You still have to get out there and build it and figure out what you want to do.
Great. I think we're on top of. Oh yeah, Dmitry. Yeah. Any closing notes from your side?
If you're talking like from business angle, I think that businesses which will provide AI generated content in some form, like non-playing characters, levels of games, etc., is a very interesting things which game studios need now. Maybe some infrastructure which will provide creators and players and game developers with easy transactions and revenue share between these in-game assets and microtransactions happening on the blockchain between different games. Maybe some infrastructure that will provide opportunity for the player and any end user actually to use their personal avatar, which he's keeping in his MetaMask in form of NFT, to log into any web page, any website, any game, etc. I would probably see in these fields.
Yeah, thanks, Dmitry. And Kieren, what?
My simple closing note is I just want to play a game that I really enjoy and want to keep playing that has Web3 technology embedded into it, because I have not done that yet, but I'm looking forward to doing that.
Lovely. I think that was a great closing comments. Thank you everyone for joining our stream today. We have tons of nice sessions after this one, so enjoy, have fun, and thank you participants. Thank you Kieren, Dmitry, and Diego for joining.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.